So I would like to invite Abdul Latif from Université Abdul Mumuni. Can I also invite Katwe? Oh, thank you. And Joseph, old friend Joseph. And we have Geoffrey and also another old friend, Bernard, from Uganda Online. So good to see you both online. And a bit sad that I can't see you here in person. So we're gonna have a round of presentations. Your presentations had already been shared, and colleagues online will share their screen. And we want to reflect, as we started yesterday, Flatpack has been an initiative we've been running for quite some time now. And we aim to start building that capacity, and it is then adopted by colleagues and the champions, and they deploy this into their universities, going through all the trouble that we discussed yesterday, you know, challenges, institutions asking how much is it gonna cost. I think that was Martin, right? How much is it gonna cost to do this course? Well, it is free, so what is the logic that we have to break sometimes? Colleagues today will focus on what are the communication challenge. So what is your end goal for setting up the research, teaching, and unit? The mutual support, what is one of those things that you need from the other champions in this room? So what can you recall to others? What can you learn from others? Technical assistance and well-wishers. Speak directly to the technical assistance organizations. As I said, you know, we have here colleagues from the Danish. We also have African Energy Futures. We also connect with African Development Bank, and we see so many times this call for proposals, as I said before, and they're asking for these international consultants, but there is expertise in the country. So how can we really leverage that potential in the country? And I'm not saying that we have not to work, we don't have to work with external consultants, but we should consider this local expertise because it's grounded with the knowledge of the country. Science policy, we want our panelists will be reflecting on examples of successful translation where academic research turned into a clear policy recommendation. You know, that's what I call a success case. A big win, highlight a moment of successful collaboration or a breakthrough in finance mobilization. So colleagues will be reflecting through this. We have roughly 3 minutes per person, and then we will open space for some questions from myself and as well as the audience. Let me start with Abdu. Abdu, please come. Yep, and over to you.
Bonjour. Could I speak in French? Okay. Okay, so good morning, everyone. So I'm Abdul Latif Bonkani from Abdou Moumouni University in Niamey, Niger. So Abdou Moumouni University is the main university founded in 1971, and it hosts about 30,000 students. So this morning I'm going to share with you my journey with the energy modeling platform, especially with the CCG. So please, can you? Yes. Okay. Okay. So my journey, everything started in just last year. I can just say my experience with this platform is less than 1 year because I'm still at the very beginning. So, so initially at Abdou Moumouni University, what we also do energy modeling. And this modeling, the main tool we use are the LEAP, Homer, and some system dynamic tools. And as you know, this tool just gives an overview of energy modeling. It does not help us to get a localized energy modeling system. Until 2025 when I participated in EMP. And then at that time, with the training I got in onset, we were able now to introduce the geospatial aspect of the energy modeling. Just after the EMP, so I discussed with one of the co-founder of the onset. So he put me in contact with a researcher, Camilo from KTH University in Sweden, who helped me, who accompanied me to integrate the onset into university course. So initially we had a meeting, so he shared a lot of documentation with me. And then in October 2026, we were able to integrate it at least in one modeling course at the Abdul Mumuni University. So the next step is to see the possibility of integrating it in the university curricula. But for this to happen, we need to have a critical mass of the users. So now we are working with the master student and also the PhD student to see if we can have at least a critical mass of those who will be able to use this tool. So our main objectives, why do we want to integrate these tools into our university curricula, is first of all to bridge the gap between the research world and also the end users, because what we are doing at university most of the time are not what the ministries and also the policymakers and also what the policymakers are looking for. So there is a gap between research and also the end users. So in this regard, we wanted now to build a transdisciplinary team where we will have researchers and non-researchers to see how together we can use these tools in order to have a localized energy modeling tools that will integrate all the components, like researchers, students, and also the policymakers in Niger. And this is to reduce the country dependence on the foreign expertise, because most of the projects, the ministry, most of the projects in our countries are, at least most of the feasibility studies are conducted by foreign expertise. So we want really to build a local expertise in order to reduce this very expensive foreign expertise. So what we need as support, as I said, because we are just at the very beginning, less than 1 year, so we are still in the process of integrating this into the university course. So what we may need maybe from the other champions, first of all, is the technical mentorship, and also if they can also help us for the curricula, because most of them have already experienced, they have already been able to set these things. So if they can share experience with us, I think it will be very great. And also, we also need a research collaboration through research mobility. So then it will help us to increase the capacity of the local team. Now, what we can also offer is, first of all, the high-quality local data, because currently Abdul Mumuni is hosting 3 international master students in climate change and energy. So the one is in energy and green hydrogen production, and this program normally is a program for the West Africa. We have about 15 students from West Africa, from 50 West Africa countries. So we have really data. So if we can collaborate, we can know how to use this data. And also, Abdul Muni University in West Africa is a regional research hub where we are training also the climate students. So collaboration, I think is really key. Thank you. That is what I want to share with you.
Thank you, Abdu. I think we share some Latin roots there. Let's move on straight to the next presenter from the University of Zambia, Katwe Mubanga. And again, let us reflect on these questions, and then we will open space for all of us to reflect. Can change.
So one of the major challenges that as a country, Zambia, we had, particularly prior to 2022 when we started the CCG program, was actually identifying the modelers who could actually do national documents. And this challenge was exemplified in some of the documents we had to submit to the UNFCCC. For instance, our second national communication and also our first NDC are not documents you are even going to find online. We have summaries because we couldn't manage to get modelers who could actually do quality work that could generate emissions that represent a country. So when CCG came in 2022, this was one of the challenges we really wanted to address. Prior to that, I think you could count the number of modelers we had possibly on one palm of your hand. So the initial conversations we had was to try and train the members of government, particularly those who were able to be involved in modeling and in writing those important documents that shaped the country's policy. So from almost having less than 5 of the non-modelers, between 2022 and now, we've managed to train close to 150 from different government ministries, such that the last NDC we did, we actually had to even incorporate aspects of CLEWs, which is one of the modeling tools that we have been training as a country. Besides that, we have created networks with government ministries such as Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Green Economy, such that we regularly train them. As I speak, we are back home, we are conducting this week a training in CLEWs. We had requested for 5 people from each ministry, and I'm told we received 15 from each of those ministries, and that creates a bit of a challenge for the trainers. So how were we going to handle this particular challenge? We decided that we needed to have a sustainability plan that incorporated some of these tools we were training into university curricula. So we decided to introduce a Master's in Climate Change and Energy Modeling to run besides the short trainings, the capacity buildings we were doing to the government officials and many other institutions that were responsible for modeling work. Just what is shown on the screen are some of the tools that we have already incorporated into our curriculum, like CLEWs, OseMOSyS, FinPlan, MED, Onset, and of course a number of them. Now, this master's program is being run concurrently with capacity building of some of the government ministries. Some of the big wins we recorded, we managed to be able to produce the integrated resource plan for the Ministry of Energy, which is basically our blueprint for energy production and consumption for up to 2070, 2021, somewhere there. But at the same time, we also did a finance strategy using FinPlan, MinFin, and FinTrack. And we've continued receiving calls from different government institutions, particularly the NDA, to try and train them in MinFin and FinTrack. So some of these have enabled collaborations with these particular institutions. The goal going forward is to try and increase our network and bring in partners. So as we established a center at the University of Zambia that is managing this modeling session, we saw a call from the Africa Energy Futures that could help create a hub. And so we partnered with the Solar Energy Center and did an application. Steve, I hope you heard that. And we are hoping that maybe Africa Energy Futures could be one of our partners as we go forward in trying to scale up this into a regional platform. We have had several barriers. Among them are the legal issues, the legal bureaucratic issues. Just getting a master's program into the University of Zambia, you require departmental approvals, school approvals, Senate approvals, ZACWA approval, higher education approval. You even start doubting yourself at the end of the day. But hopefully, going forward, this is something that will be fully fledged and integrated in the University of Zambia curriculum. Thank you so much.
Wow. 150 people in 3 years, 4 years more or less, and embedded already the curricula and the master. Terrific. What a case. Let us move to Ghana, and I would like to invite Joseph, old friend from Ghana, to tell us how it's been the journey.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, so my name is Joseph Asasmin. I'm from Ghana with the Brihamon Energy Center, which is located at KNUST in Ghana. Yeah, so just as my colleagues and also presented yesterday, we've also been part of CCG, I think about 3 years ago, and we are here to share how we have also gone on this journey in terms of how we've been able to integrate the Flatpack in terms of our curriculum and also working with some of our ministries in the use of the tools that have been developed. Yeah, so indeed, modeling has become one of the tools that is very critical when it comes in terms of our decision making. And so our strategic purpose basically is to try and build capacity so as to be, especially when it comes to the sustainability beyond CCG, so as to have them have the skills so they can continue with the support of when it comes to low carbon and climate resilient developments in the country. And also definitely to have a community of practice. We want to ensure we could build sustainable in-country capacity so as to be able to, again, support when it comes to some of these decisions. And of course, global collaboration. My colleague Kabwe had mentioned, indeed, the Brihamo Energy Center had also submitted, when Africa Energy Futures call came in. And so obviously we will also be interested to see how we can have that collaboration. The challenges has been already mentioned in terms of the curriculum. Integration has always been one of the main areas that is of concern. You have to go through various steps as far as trying to integrate these programs into your curriculum. And of course, funding support, which is very critical. If you want to sustain in terms of research, as far as country-specific, decision-making is concerned, you need some funding to work with your postgraduate students so they can do the research that is tailored towards, the country activities. And of course, institutional capacity is also very important. Finding the right and dedicated team so as to ensure that you can, continue to sustain the community of practice when it comes to modeling. In terms of academic integration, just as my colleagues, we have also been able to introduce the Flatpack tools in our MPhil PhD. So first is on the bioengineering program. We have the MPhil PhD Renewable Energy Technologies and PhD Sustainable Energy Technologies. So CLEWs, OseMOSyS, FinPlan may have been the tools that have already been introduced. Of course, as I mentioned, currently we've been able to introduce them, but then subject to the next review of our curriculum, we're going to have it mainstream as far as the delivery of these tools are concerned. Since we've been with CCG, as Kabwe had mentioned, we've also trained over 100 people when it comes, apart from those who take the tools as part of their postgraduate programs, also organizing workshops, working with government agencies. And so since 2004, 2005, 2006, we continue to have these kind of engagements when it comes to training people as far as the Flatpacks are concerned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joseph. More than 100 as well, yeah. Not surprised. All the work that colleagues in Ghana had also been doing over the last couple of years is amazing. I myself had seen it with my own eyes being in Ghana September 2024. Let me now call Geoffrey from Uganda Marty's University. Geoffrey is online. Geoffrey, can you hear us? Just checking now audio. You're muted. Can you, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. So, Geoffrey, if you could tell us a little bit how the journey has been in Uganda for yourself, and we will then have reflections as well from Bena, from Uganda as well, but from different institutions. So, over to you, Geoffrey. Yeah, and you can share your screen.
All right.
The floor is yours. I'm going to let you know somehow that you have 3 minutes already. Over to you.
Right.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you. Over to you.
All right. Good morning, colleagues. My name is Mobinzi Geoffrey. I head the Department of Economics at Uganda Marty's University, and I am a Flatpack champion. My motivation initially for attending these courses, FlexiTool, OseMOSyS, and MAED, was purposely to integrate these ideas into our curriculum. And I would like to take you through how we are progressing. At Uganda Marty's University, our goal is to institutionalize this modeling across teaching and across the research and the policy engagement. This was enabled by the climate compatible growth, the courses I undertook. And in addition, we have the Flatpack teaching materials and the Open University self-paced courses. These have been very critical in helping us integrate OseMOSyS, the FlexiTool, and the MAED into our competence-based curriculum. We have embedded these tools in a program called Bachelor of Science in Economics and Natural Resource Management. It's an undergraduate course. And we teach it to year 3 students in their 2nd semester. We have already had a cohort, 1 cohort, graduate, and they have been trained in these 3 components, MAED, OseMOSyS, and the FlexiTool. And we are yet to have another cohort that is being undertaken, that is undertaken through this training. We are in the initial stages. We are still benchmarking of developing a Master of Science in Energy Economics and Management. And in this program, we intend to deepen the research in energy modeling and evidence-based policy engagements. I'd like to talk about the few challenges that we meet along the way. Of course, colleagues have mentioned the bureaucracies in program approval and program update. Sometimes have issues with facilitation for program development, as we are all aware that program development involves research. You have to carry out some market research. You have to carry out with the industry, with policymakers, with the employers, with the alumni, and many other stakeholders. So sometimes we have a challenge of facilitation to have this done, and difficulty in building teams within faculty. The challenge here is mostly because some of these faculty have varying specializations, some have differing interests, so that leads to a gap in capacity. Well, we are grateful that the CCGE has provided us with the Flatpack materials and the online Open University courses. which have enabled us to have these courses integrated in our curriculum, which is competence-based. And I would like to tell you that our students have fully adopted these resources. In terms of networking, we are part of the energy modeling community under the CCGE. And from this, we continue to seek support from fellow modelers. We continue to seek mentorship and collaboration with colleagues within that community. Part of our future prospects and what we intend to do at the university, we have started, among faculty, we have started a community of practice, that's how we are calling it. And we are specifically working towards publishing articles in peer-reviewed journals. We want to engage the policymakers, so we intend to engage in writing policy briefs. And we intend to strengthen the collaboration with the sister institutions, like Makerere University Business School, like Makerere University, Maine, and other institutions within Uganda, and including the entire CCGE network. We are also proposing a structured student and staff mobility within the network, within the CCGE network. And indeed, this would allow our students to gain exposure to the advanced modeling environment. And our staff can as well exchange knowledge. They can co-teach, they can co-develop programs. Yeah, that will be a very good experience. What we count as our success for the meantime is us moving from individual training to institutional capacity. And we now have capacity to produce graduates with these practical skills, with these practical modeling skills. And these graduates, we are very sure when they're employed, they contribute to research, they contribute to industry, and most important, evidence-based policy engagements. We are seeking support. Mostly I will echo this in collaboration, collaborative research, collaboration in research, co-authorship, and technical assistance as of when it may arise. So we request that when we push through a request for that technical support, it is rendered to us. And support for students and student mobility, which I have already talked about. This will help sustain and scale this work that we are trying to do. Briefly, that's what I can say. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Geoffrey. And yeah, it would be great to hear other thoughts in the questions. And also it would be great to see you in a couple of weeks, actually, in Uganda. We will be there in person. So let me pass it on to Bernard from Makerere University Business School. To hear, Bernard, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you very well, Jairo.
So good to see you. So over to you again. Let's try to reflect on these communication challenges, mutual support. Was that the time for me? Technical assistance, the science policy interface, and the big win from your perspective at MOOPS. Over to you, Bernard. And you have roughly 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, let me save the introductions for coffee breaks. And what is my story? It is facing two doors. One is teaching, and then what I'm calling national processes, or how I have used these tools in the policy space within Uganda. So the first one that is close to my heart is really is teaching. It was in 2021 when I finished the OseMOSyS track with the CCG. My story was a bit unconventional. When I came back, we already had a master's and a PhD in energy economics and governance running. There's a course called energy economics modeling, but from what we had been doing and seen, I felt it was lacking the spark the spark here in terms of tools, hands-on, relatable to osmosis and the others. So I did not wait for the dean or head of department or school principal to ask me to do this. I took it to them. This is the message I've been telling most trainees in these items. So, but as I speak now, initially I started it as as one topic on a course. I couldn't bring everything in. Right now, we have progressed. It is osmosis is about 60% of the course because of what it does. As I speak now, at least 73 students have gone through this since 2022. At the same time, I have used this space to merge with a non-research center called Energy Economics Research and Modeling Center, where every summer now we have started training students mainly, but also people externally into these tools that we have. So I count as one, raising capacity in these particular tools through our graduate students, but I'm also happy that we have extended this to create a center that the university that we are calling Energy Economics Research and Modeling Space. In terms of challenges, I think most of these have been really mentioned, but from experience, creating case studies that are facing our realities and context in Africa should be emphasized, as most of our students easily relate with them. We are doing this training trainers in terms of capacity. Particularly, I have taken it upon at the university to see that we have more lecturers do this kind of thing. And also beyond the university walls, we talk about academia interacting with the government in collaborative terms for this. The second area where I've used these tools in the policy space, osmosis, and 2022, after we finished the results we had, I used them to, the government holds annually what they call the Economic Growth Forum, and there is a track on green growth. And this is where twice I have presented the results based on osmosis. With the CLEWs, we are currently part of the team undertaking assessments for mitigation assessments for updating Uganda's NDC 3. We are also using MinFin right now to try to assess the financing possibilities of Uganda's transport transition in terms of all this. But binding this together, it is about how these tools have pushed me as a person into the policy space, but also interact with the government. What I foresee as support needs in this particular area is try to institutionalize modeling in national planning frameworks. I have been trying to push Minister of Energy, or at least within these ministries, to have some kind of this, that we can do this. The big elephant in the room remains data, as we know, and we think while these are national level concerns, but with any support in this area, I think is necessary. As we know, the precision of the outputs of these results depends on what we feed into them. And finally, capacity building, I think, has been overemphasized in this case. It is beyond teachers taking this to these governments, but I think we should take economy-wide inclusion of all these capacity building in all these agencies, departments, and ministries going forward. Pyro, that's where I'll end. I'm open to any specific questions as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernard. And I think we all should applaud all the participants in this together. So thank you very much to all of you. Let's look at, I actually have a couple of questions and was thinking if I do want general for everybody, but let me look at, we do have one Francophone country here, And I have one question. We have worked with partners to translate the training material to different languages. So OseMOSyS, for instance, is available in French as well as in Spanish. How has that helped deploying the OseMOSyS training material in Niger? Has it helped engaging also other stakeholders in the system? So would you give us some reflections on that? Do we have microphones? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you for your question. First of all, I must say, currently we are not using OseMOSyS, we are only using ONSET in Niger. But I think even ONSET has been translated to French, I think. But I think that doesn't matter because this program, as I said, are regional programs, and the teaching material are English. So the language barrier is no more there because we have different students from almost all the West African countries. So the teaching language is in English. So I think this is not a problem. But for the stakeholders, because we just started less than about 6 months, so we are still in the process of bringing them on board. Yes, so.
And do you think that's going to help?
Yeah, it will help, because what you want to do at the university is to build a team comprising the researchers, students, and also the practitioners together to see how we can have a locally grounded energy modeling tools. But we are still in the process. As you know, it takes time because we have already made some requests into ministries and different technical services. So we are still in the process, and maybe, hopefully, that in few months we will be able to settle things up.
Okay. Thank you, Abdu. Katwe, I think you had mentioned in your presentation mutual support, and I wanted to ask you, what is one concrete thing another champion from yesterday or today has done or could do that will directly help University of Zambia?
Thank you so much. I think building networks and partnerships is extremely important for us. As I mentioned, in the first place, modeling has not been a very big thing in Zambia because we haven't had a lot of modelers. But this is a time when that particular world is opening to us. So for some of the champions who are a lot more exposed to this, I think at some point it might be help to create this co-learning between champions, but also between other institutions and other partners who could be able to provide that technical support. But even more important, because we are in the process of setting up a center that will be responsible purely for modeling. And I think we will not only need technical support, but also financial support to be very cardinal. At that point, this is where we have already started sending out calls when we see calls that seem to fit what we are looking for. I think we've been doing that, and CCG has been highly, highly supportive. We are working with some of the CCG researchers to help us through this. So I think with the right partners, the right networks, I think we can be able to not just scale up this at national level, but at regional level, and that's a goal, actually.
Super. Maybe moving on, because we have a couple of minutes left before we move to the breakout. Joseph, I think one question I had for you is in terms of the size of the organization. Does that help having, I mean, as we know, KNUST is a big university, very well established, many years. Does that help in the process of establishing these units, these curricula, or does the bureaucracy may actually complicate things?
Yeah, yes, indeed, KNUST, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology is quite, as you said, in terms of the number of programs, in terms of infrastructure. indeed, it's not really been a challenge when it comes in terms of integrating or institutionalizing some of these tools. Of course, the Ghana tertiary accreditation in terms of education, when it comes to accreditation, requires you to go through certain processes. But at the university level, of course, we don't really, should I say, have a kind of block when it comes to running some of these programs. And that is why you could see from my presentation already the number of programs that we have introduced. Of course, like I said, we have introduced the individual lecturers who have now the capacity to teach these Flatpack tools are able to right away integrate it in terms of the curriculum until the next accreditation, where we could officially go through the processes of mainstreaming it into the system. I think with that, I should say we don't really have any kind of hurdle when it comes to integration these tools into our curriculum. Yeah.
Thank you, Joseph. And indeed, it can help. Actually, it's also part of my experience in Costa Rica. It's largest university in Central America, but can also get a bit long process because of all the approvals that they have in the pipeline. Geoffrey, we have you online, and I mean, as we know, Martyrs is a private university, therefore some of those processes might be relatively straightforward. So we wanted to understand what are the differences that you may envision when we do deploy these units in your space. Is there any advantage or disadvantage that you may perceive in terms of flexibility of the organization? The vision is already established. Could you please let us know what are your thoughts? You are muted.
Thank you very much. I think being a private institution, one of the advantages is that unlike government institutions, the bureaucracy is not as much as you would have for public institutions. I'll give an example. When I was integrating OseMOSyS and FlexiTool in the BS Economics and Natural Resource Management, there is a required percentage by Uganda National Council of Higher Education that you should not exceed 30% when you're updating a program. And that requires the submission of this curriculum to the University Curriculum Review Committee. So to me, I'm thinking that one of the strengths that you have as a private institution is that the bureaucracy may not be as much as a public university. However, given the fact that it's a private university, sometimes we have a few challenges here and there, which if we look at very well, we can overcome.
Thank you, Geoffrey. Let's move to next door, perhaps, with Bernard. Bernard, I mean, we've been actually collaborating, and I see the work that the team had been doing with the CCD team at the Ministry of Water and Environment. Could you please share with us how this unit that you've been building strengthened that policy support with the minister?
I think Jairo, two ways. One, we have situated ourselves as some responsible and available center right now that the government can run to when it comes to most of these tools, coming from a position where they have been waiting for experts externally bring these models, bring the results, and then they go away. So this has strengthened our working to the context that should anything be required to be adjusted or to be moved, and then they can at least have local people to contact and say, this is what we are thinking, this is what we need to change, can this be done? I think that is the first case where this has really helped us into the course. And going forward this year, we are thinking of, in the summer, we are thinking of picking people from these MDAs for a specialized training in CLEWs, other spaces allowing. The second part really relates to the research-based informing process to all the engagements that you have been doing. The assessments government sometimes needs to verify, government needs to check with on short notice. And so they find there is some kind of trust when we produce results and share with the Ministry of Water and Environment, because the trust is higher that we understand the context in which all these results behave or arise, and can easily relate with the assumptions that we make in that context. Yes, Hiram.
Thank you, Bernard. I think we are running a little bit behind the schedule, but we may have one burning question. We're going to have breakup sessions as well, so you may be asking colleagues more questions, but we have one question here.
Thanks very much for all those fascinating presentations. I just wondered where the social sciences fit into these programs. Are they purely technical energy programs? I think they could get great value from political economy perspectives, especially with the policy side. So I'm just wondering if one of you could possibly answer that. Thank you.
Do we have one champion, Cadway?
Yeah, thank you, Colin. I think particularly for the program we're establishing at the University of Zambia, it's a multidisciplinary one. So it's actually, while it's sitting in the School of Natural Sciences, it has courses from School of Education, School of Humanities, Engineering. So it's cross-cutting. But other than that, most of these models, actually they start with a political economy course. So there's already a social component that is actually embedded in that. But also, I think, particularly for tools that do not yet involve some of the socials like CLEWs, I think these are conversations that are already being had so that some of those aspects can be embedded.
Okay, we're gonna break up for the next session, which is the first breakup. Just Jürgen, could you please help me locating table number 4, because is it that? Okay, yes, I couldn't see the numbers. It was right behind the electrical socket.
Ira, there is a hand from Mark online.
Okay, Mark, you want to come in, but very quickly.
No, I was okay. Don't mean to take up time. Just wanted to say that we have a lot of work going on and developing a kind of much more detailed political economy effort course that hopefully will bridge some of the gap between the social science, which is essential because we need people to understand that, to translate it into the techno-economics. Just to say, there's a lot of work on the way in the background, and it's very important.
Thank you, Mark. You were breaking a little bit, but yeah, it's definitely lots of work going on. Okay, so I just locate all the tables. We have table number 1 here, table number 2 over there. So colleagues here will have to move to one of the other tables as well as that table. Please find yourself another space in the other tables. Table number 3, table number 4, and table number 5. So we're going to ask you, those with a table number, to move to the other tables, please. And in each table, you will find some guiding questions. Okay? We're going. Yes, include. Yes. Sorry, you say, and I got distracted by the breakups. Thank you very much to the panelists. Thank you very much.